Howdy, folks. I'm Jolly Jingle Bells, jubilantly jingling for jaded joysticks.
I'm Amber.
And here are more pew 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 joysticks for us to jingle at. I don't know, maybe we're the video game sound effects. Let's get started. Alright, folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Sacrificing the Guest Room Instead of the Office Space? My husband and I live in a 3-bedroom apartment. We sleep in the master bedroom, and until earlier this year, the other two were a guest room and an office space that we both shared. Our first child was born in October, and we decided to turn the guest room into a nursery. I thought about sacrificing the office instead, but decided that we needed it more than a guest room. I work on site, but I also do some freelancing from home, and my husband works a hybrid. We don't need to do our work from the office, it's just more comfortable and less chaotic, especially now that we have a baby. On the other hand, we rarely have guests over. If we do, the office is big enough to set a mattress in. Edit, a normal one, not an air mattress on the floor. My father lives in a different country. He's traveling here for Christmas in about a week, and this will be his first time meeting my son in person. Last time he came, I was pregnant and we still had the guest room, so he stayed there during his visit. A couple of weeks ago, my father called to ask whether he could stay at my apartment again this year. I said sure, but we don't have a guest room anymore, so he would have to sleep in the office. He asked what I meant, and I told him that we had turned the guest room into the baby's nursery. He then asked why I hadn't got rid of the office instead. I explained my and my husband's reasoning. My father got annoyed and said, "Whatever, I'll get a hotel," before hanging up on me. Well, the next day my father texted me. He said that it was selfish and inconsiderate of me and my husband to keep an office that we don't actually need over a room to properly house potential guests. He added that he didn't raise me to be such an awful hostess and that it's ridiculous of me to think that people would be okay with sleeping on a mattress on the floor. My sister is siding with my father, and I'm starting to doubt myself here. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
Not the jerk. A house needs to suit the people who live in it full time. A guest room is nice, but it's a luxury. There's not any point in keeping a room empty for like 360 days out of the year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the trouble I have here, right? I mean, it seems like he's expecting them to keep this room basically reserved for him. I mean, if he wants to, have this room reserved for him 365 days a year, maybe he needs to start paying rent.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really what it boils down to here. They need that room for certain reasons. And that room is helping them to fund their household. And he needs to understand that he's not helping to fund the household. They have a child here. It's going to be even more expensive now, so they need every extra dollar they can get. So I think he's being extraordinarily unreasonable here. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Zealous Ideal Dog 968 says, the only reason why I'm saying not the jerk is because you know that your dad lives far away, and I'm guessing that he's old school. Yes, you have a new baby, but couldn't you put a desk in the guest room? Just knowing at least my dad, he may take it as a reason not to go. Not just for the money that he now needs to spend on a hotel, but also emotionally and mentally, he may feel like this is some way of saying that you don't want guests, especially if he's the one that comes most often. He probably never even thought that you would think of getting rid of it, and he feels hurt by this. I mean, do you go to visit him? If so, great. And does he have a room for you guys? If you don't go and visit, why not? Is this the only way that he gets to see the new baby? I know you probably can't even think of stuff like this right now with a new baby. I don't know, I'm a big family gal. What do you think of that comment?
I don't think that they are thinking about this from the lens of what makes a house most livable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, again, there's nothing wrong with sleeping on a mattress on the floor for a few nights.
Yeah.
Like, so many people, when they crash at a friend or relative's house, they sleep on the couch, they sleep on an air mattress. Like, those are kind of standard in a lot of places because a lot of people don't have enough room in their house.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's really entitled to expect people to keep a whole room of their house that's not very big empty specifically for guests. Like, maybe if they had a giant mansion, like with 20 bedrooms and they couldn't find a single one to put guests in,
Mm-hmm.
that might feel a little bit more like a snub, but they are using this as a functional space.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, is it really that big of a deal to roll out? I mean, maybe they need to get him a cot or something like that that he can roll out if it's a matter of like mobility and whatnot for the floor. But a mattress on the floor is a perfectly reasonable thing. It's a step above, I would say, an air mattress,
Hmm.
even, right? And maybe it's not going to be the most comfortable, but I mean, I would be more than happy with a mattress on the floor,
Hmm.
right? So I don't know that this is that big of a deal. I don't know. I really don't know. And OP replies, my father comes over once a year, which I don't consider often. Don't know what you mean by put a desk in the guest room, as we don't have a guest room anymore. I do visit my father when I can, almost yearly, but not more than once. And he does have a guest room that my husband and I can stay in. But my father lives alone in a 2-story, 3-bedroom house. I live in a medium sized apartment with 2 other people, including a newborn, and we barely have overnight guests. The best that I can do is the floor mattress. And blind ump Bob says, not the jerk, a guest room is a nice to have, but you have a reason enough to use that space otherwise. In fact, to not do so could be a waste of space. Surely your dad also taught you not to waste resources. As for the sister deal, does she live nearby you? Maybe she's afraid that dad will hit her up, or does she live far away and was figuring on using your guest room for some free lodging on her own? And OP replies, my sister is younger and still lives with our mother, 15 minutes away. She only stayed in my guest room once before and has said that she's perfectly fine sleeping in the office if she has to.
If you've never had to run your own household, like it's easier when you've always lived in someone else's household and it's always
Yeah.
everything's been run for you
Yeah.
than trying to live in your own like tiny little space and figure out how to allocate everything.
Yeah, I think again, this is just coming from a lack of experience more than anything, and not really understanding like that this room is useful and it is doing something. I mean, certainly like it's nice to have sentiment and to be like, oh, well, it would be nice to visit, have dad visit and stuff like that. And she may even be thinking about this from her point of view is if she lives 15 minutes away, when their dad comes to visit, she can go over to OP's house and visit their father, right? And so she may be viewing this as a, oh, this means that he might not visit and I might not be able to see him as much. So, I mean, I would take the sister's thoughts with a grain of sand. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, am I a jerk for keeping my late brother's necklace for my son instead of giving it to my sister-in-law as I promised? A few years ago, my sister-in-law, a 33-year-old female, became very close to me, a 25-year-old female, after her husband, my brother, passed away. We bonded a lot, and during that time, I told her that she could have my brother's special necklace. He gave it to me when he got married and thought that it would be a nice way to honor our connection. She was thrilled. Fast forward to now, I just gave birth to a baby boy. I remembered my brother's necklace, that it was made for boys, and I realized how much it would mean to him to have it one day. He's my own son, and it feels right that he should inherit something so meaningful from his own family line. I talked to my sister-in-law about it recently and explained that I've changed my mind and want to keep the necklace for my son instead. I offered to buy her a different, special piece of jewelry with my brother's name, but she got upset and said that I broke my promise. She told me that she doesn't even want to talk to me anymore, and now my niece, her daughter, is angry with me too. I feel bad, but at the same time, I think that it makes more sense for the necklace to stay in the immediate family and with a boy. My niece can't comprehend, even though I've tried explaining this to her. Am I the jerk for keeping the locket for my own child instead of giving it to my sister-in-law? All right, folks, what do you think?
Yes, you're the jerk. You specifically told your sister-in-law it was going to be hers.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's all that matters here. I mean, there are other things I want to point out, like the whole, and he should stay in the immediate family. Once he married, his wife became his immediate
Yeah,
family.
and her niece.
Yeah, the niece is his immediate family. And it doesn't matter if the necklace is designed for boys or for girls. Like, all of that is silly. Anyone can wear any jewelry item. People wear sentimental jewelry items from people of different genders all the time.
Exactly. And I mean, I think that's really what this boils down to. I think that OP made a promise, they made a commitment, and they wanted to give something special and meaningful to their sister-in-law. And I think that it's horrible that they've gone back on their word here. And because like this is going to be something that has a lot of meaning to her
Mm-hmm.
personally. The
Yeah.
son isn't going to have any like connection to this. They may even lose it right? Because it's just kind of like, oh, I got this necklace.
I feel like so often, when family heirlooms are passed down and there's no real like sentimental tie, like it's one thing for the wife who knew the brother, but this nephew is never going to have met him. At best, he'll hear some stories and see some photos. Is it really going to be all that meaningful to him?
Well, and then on top of that, like when the sister-in-law, passes it on to OP's niece, she would have a connection to that piece of jewelry more so than OP's own son.
Yeah.
And I think that that would have a lot more meaning in that respect as well. And so I think that OP is thinking about this from a very selfish position.
Yeah, and I mean, if they want to do something for the son, maybe there's some smaller personal item he had that she could pass on to the son. It doesn't have to be a piece of jewelry. Share his photos, tell stories about him. But again, he's never going to be a major player in the son's life.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. But folks, let's see what the Wheel of Judgment has to say. Wheel of Judgment, turn, turn, turn. Tell us the judgment that OP's earned. Centrifuge.
I mean, that's a little extreme, but I guess the centrifuge really doesn't like violating promises. I mean, the wheel doesn't like violating promises.
Yes. I think this is the closest the wheel has been in several days.
Well, and like if she hadn't promised the necklace, it would be hers to do with as she pleased. But I think the key thing is she promised it to sister-in-law.
Speaking of a piece of jewelry, am I the jerk for refusing to stop wearing a piece of jewelry that my brother-in-law gifted to me? So basically the conflict is about my brother-in-law's current wife. He is my husband's brother. When he got married to his first wife, he gifted me, my mother-in-law, and his sister, my sister-in-law, matching rings. They're pretty, and we still have them. My sister-in-law wears hers on a chain around her neck, and my mother-in-law tends to only wear her wedding and engagement bands on a normal day-to-day basis. I also haven't seen my brother-in-law recently since we live away. They're all visiting us this weekend, and I wore the ring that my brother-in-law gave me, and he made a comment that he was still pleased that I like to wear it, and I said, yes, I love it, and I thanked him again for buying it. His wife pulled a face, but I didn't think anything of it. Then just a little while ago, I was alone in the kitchen prepping school lunches for my kids, and then she came in and said that we need to talk. Apparently, it's rude and disrespectful of me to wear expensive jewelry from a man who isn't my husband. And apparently, it's especially bad to be wearing more expensive jewelry than she's ever been gifted. She kind of seems to be angling for me to give it to her, and I just told her to get out because she was getting aggressive. I didn't think that using a gift was weird, but am I the jerk here? Is it worth bringing this up with a husband? All right, folks, what do you think?
Not the jerk, and I do think it's worth talking to him about. I mean, there's nothing wrong with wearing jewelry items that family members gave you. And I think, if she was thinking there was nefarious intentions, the fact that he gave the same ring to his mom and his sister, I think makes it pretty clear. It was just kind of like giving all the girls in the family a nice piece of jewelry.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what this kind of signals to me as well. I think if he hasn't gotten her an expensive piece of jewelry, though, then that might be a little bit of poor form to basically, like, he's given his wife, his mother and his sister, a expensive piece of jewelry, but not her.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible that his circumstances have changed since then. It's also possible that he's more jaded since his first marriage didn't work out. But either of those would be things to take up with the husband and not with OP.
Yeah. So I don't think that this is OP's problem at all. OP, continue to wear that ring. If you love it, that's great. I mean, it was a gift, and gifts are meant to be worn. And maybe she is trying to guilt OP into giving up the ring, but again, this isn't OP's problem. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Watching Telly Now says, the green-eyed monster is prowling. She's jealous of you having something from her husband, may also be jealous of the first wife, and has come up with a ridiculous way of saying so. There's nothing wrong with you wearing something a man gave you, whoever he is, and even if it were disrespectful to your husband, that's something for you to deal with your husband within your marriage. Spoiler, it's not. So she needs to keep her sticky beak out of your marriage, not the jerk. And OP replies, yeah, maybe it's linked to the previous marriage. I don't ever think about it, so I didn't consider that. They were only together 2 months before they got a divorce. My husband doesn't care who gifts me something as long as it's given and received in good faith. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
What kind of haircuts do bees get?
I think they get buzz cuts
Yep.
because they're all soldiers. And I have licorice spice. Alright folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy wonderful Wednesday, Hump Day, Friday Junior's Eve. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it a haiku for Haiku Wednesday.
You've made a promise. Don't go back and change your mind, accept and move on.
I think that works. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.